Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this past week's trades and the weekly recap. Before I get into the recap, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section social media account. Also, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. I didn't trade that much this past week. I had COVID, so I kind of took it easy. I finished the week with 14 wins, 5 losses for a win rate of 73.68%, which is below my 85% goal. So I just didn't do that well, and I noticed that, when I was going over the trades, that most of my losses, if not all of them, was either related to a news chase or end of day plays. So I'm going to try to stay away from the end of the day plays and news related plays next week and see if I do better. So just the end of the day plays have just been SPY's just been chopping, didn't do too much, and it's just been a theta killer. So I'm probably going to try to stay away from those next week and until SPY starts moving again the last half an hour. But Friday it moved down quite a bit on the last half an hour, but I wasn't expecting a drop on Friday. I was expecting a pop, but we'll get into that when we get into that. So now on the Trade Ideas channel on Monday the 5th, I said Microsoft calls over 254.50 and SPY puts under 403.50 on the 5th, which is right here. 405.50 was, well, 403.50, which was down here. Pre-market just I just averaged down to the 50-cent mark. I like to round down to those half dollar or full dollar on pre-market because it just makes it easier to remember. So the first candle it popped. I usually wait out the first 10-minute candle because they usually end up being misdirections, fake outs, and stuff like that. So I just prefer to just skip them and not deal with them. So, but I noticed a couple of times this week that the first 10-minute candle actually provided strong momentum in the areas I was looking at, but I'm still playing it safe and just waiting out the first 10 minutes. So you see the first 10-minute candle popped. Then when it came back down and broke lower day on the next 10-minute candle, this is where I took SPX 40-35 puts at 720. And they went from 720 to $22, 200% move in 20 minutes. So that was a nice little play. Then I switched to calls at 1036, which is right here. Had this big knife, came back up, consolidating in this little area, 403. Then when it broke this time to go push through VWAP, over 403.25. That's where I grabbed the 440 calls at 760. And then went from 760 to 940 in that little push right there. Then I went to calls at 12:15. Not quite sure why I didn't grab puts right here. I probably should have. I probably did in the challenge account. So 12:15 I grabbed calls, which was right here. I don't know why I grabbed it right there. I probably should have grabbed it right down here, closer to 401.20. But yeah, I grabbed it up here for some reason. So yeah, I grabbed it right in here probably. So I grabbed the 40-15 calls at 8:10, and they went from 8:10 to 11. Yeah, I must have grabbed it down here more because they went from $8.10 to $11. So that was a nice little play. Then I grabbed calls again at 1:15, which is right here. I see why I grabbed it here. It broke new lower day, then it consolidated, stayed in its little range. Then when it broke above this 490 level for one area, That's where I grabbed the 410 calls, the 4010 calls at 810. Then it dropped, came back up, looked like it was going to break, then it finally just dropped, and I just stopped out at like 350, and it dropped down to the RCT trend line. Then I grabbed puts at 329. I should not have grabbed puts here. That was probably a stupid move on my part. Let's see where I got at 329 rate here. Dropped down, popped up, then when it came back down, I can see why I grabbed it here. Looked like it was going to drop more, but from 405 to 398, I kind of thought, okay. It dropped, it popped back up. It was tried to retest the 400 area, didn't quite get there. Then when it pulled back, I thought, okay, maybe we would drop more here. I probably shouldn't have grabbed it either way. Probably should have just waited. But yeah, I grabbed it, and it grabbed it $39.95 puts, $8. I've been playing the end of the day plays very small because of they've been very choppy, not been going anywhere, and see it just chopped to death right there. So didn't drop, it popped a little bit, then it came back down, and it popped and dropped, so ended up being a loss right there, but I probably shouldn't have touched that on that play. So 3-2 that day, not that great of a day. Then on the 6th, traded his room, I said SPY puts under 399, Tesla calls over 184. 399 is right here, pre-market low. I like when they're close to the levels. I hate when they have massive gaps and drops, gap ups and gap downs, because you don't have really much of an area to go at, and the areas you do are like $1 or $2 off, and I don't really like doing that. I like when they're more tight pre-market. So I waited out the first 10-minute candle, didn't do too much, but when it did break the second 10-minute candle, grabbed the 39.80 puts at 630, and they went from 630 to $14, and that drop right there. Then I ended up grabbing calls at 1136, which was right here. I should have waited more. I got too impatient. I got the 39.65 calls right here. I should have waited till it got over the 396 level more. I just tried to anticipate it a little too early, and it cost me. And so yeah, I got the 39.65 calls at 750, then it dumped. I should have waited a little more. The better area to grab it would have been over the 396.15 area. But it is what it is. I just dropped more. So then I switched to puts at 1154, which was right here. So I tried to grab calls right here, and when it faked out, came back down and broke right here, this is where I switched the puts. I grabbed the 39.80, the 39.50 puts at 820. They went from 820 to 980, so that was a nice little play. Then I did switch to calls at 309. So this was an end of the day play that actually worked out. 309, which is right in this candle right here. I grabbed it, pulled back, and it ended up ripping. So I got the 39.30 calls at 620, and then went from 620 to $14, and that pop right there. Luckily, we had this end of the day pop right here. But this is what I'm talking about, that it's just, it popped. I got in here and it pulled back, and it did not do anything for a little bit, but thank God that it did rip the last couple hours, 10-minute candles, and it actually ended up working out really well. So it worked out good. So it just, the end of the day plays have been the most risky for some reason. The best plays have been lately, the last few weeks, have been the morning plays, mid-morning, and early afternoon. So you got to adjust to know when the best plays have been happening, because what happens today, what's good today, may not be good tomorrow or next week or the week after. You just got to adapt, make mental notes, because of the longest time, the first 20 minutes, half an hour, has usually been the worst. We used to have like massive double fake outs back a month or two ago. We would get double fake outs, and you'd have to wait the first half an hour before you got an actual good move. And the best moves at that point in time were mid-morning, mid-afternoon. So the market's always changing. You got to change with it. You got to make mental notes on what the when the good plays are, when the bad ones are. And right now, the bad plays have been end of day, so you either stay away from them or play very, very small. So which is what I've been doing. I've been playing small and hurting my win ratio because I've been playing end of the day, which I may change that next week. Minus FOMC, because FOMC is next week, and the end of the day plays on FOMC have the most volatility, so that will probably be the one exception. So good day on Tuesday. Now on Wednesday, traded ears room. I said, let's see, SPY puts under 391, Microsoft calls over 246. This is one I said, what, 391, which is right down here. It didn't, popped up, had a strong move up, then it came back down. I waited the first 10-minute candle, didn't really break no new lower day on the second 10-minute candle. The first 10-minute candle was a green candle, second one was red. It didn't fully get below the lower day, but when it did on the third candle, this is where I grabbed it. I grabbed the 39.15 puts at $9, and they went from $9 to $10.50. Then I grabbed puts at $10.12, which was right up here. No, I got it down here, I think. I think I reloaded right down here. Then it popped up, and I reloaded at 11, which is right here. I'm not quite sure what this mess was. I wonder if this was the mess with... I think this was the mess that Putin came out and said that he was thinking about using nuclear weapons on Ukraine, and it dumped, and I jumped in. Then literally a minute later, I said, no, he never said that. It's just one of those things where that the news will come out and just say something to abruptly disrupt the market, and it dumped, and then I jumped in thinking that, that news or that headline alone, this market could drop $10 right there just on that. And then literally minutes later, just said, no, Putin did not say that. They changed the wording, and the market went crazy, and it was just so stupid. And that I think that the news should be more accountable about its information it comes out, because it literally does screw with investors, and people do lose money on false headlines and stuff like that. So it popped, and it dropped, and it popped again. And finally, when it came over here, I ended up averaging down. My initial buy was at $9.40, and I added more at $2.75, bringing my average down to $4.40, and then it finally dumped, so I was able to get out. So they went from $4.40 to $7.10, so I was able to get out green, make some good money on that. So I just chased the news headline, got burnt on it. That's probably one thing I'll end up doing differently, is that I won't prematurely jump on the headlines, especially when there's just so much misinformation out there, especially when it comes to like headlines with the war and stuff like that. And but when you have headlines with like BA having headlines, or Tesla about the actual product or that themselves, that's like a different kind of headline. But when you have them geopolitical headlines and war headlines, then that's a little different matter, and that's very back and forth. So I just prefer, I'm going to probably just wait for it. So then after that news headline with Putin, I just kind of threw me off my game a little bit. Plus I was sick all week with COVID. So I just was like a little frustrated at that point because of the headline. And then I just waited. Then I ended up taking puts at 11.55, which was right here. Grabbed puts right here out the view up rejection. I grabbed the 39.20 puts at $7. It started to drop a little bit. Then it popped. Then it dropped and popped. And I ended up averaging down end of day. I held it the entire day. I ended up averaging down at 312, which is right here. thinking, okay, we're making lower highs. We got a lower high here and lower high here. We're pushing down. So I averaged down here and thinking, okay, because we're gonna end up pushing. We're gonna end up making a new low. We're gonna end up dumping to at least pre-market lows. And it didn't. It just never broke this 392 level, and it just stayed above it and just kept flirting with it. And I was like, okay, we tested it once here, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna go this time, and it didn't. It just ended up making lower highs. The pattern was there. It wouldn't drop, so it stayed within it. So I got burnt on that play. So I can see why I averaged down there, why I took it. I mean, I probably would have done it again and again because of the lower highs and stuff like that. Plus, you can also see a little bit of a head and shoulders right here, the left shoulder, the head and the right shoulder. It looked like it was going to go, but it didn't. So it is what it is. And Thursday, trading days room, SPY calls over 396, which was right here. First 10-minute candle was a red candle, green candle second. Then when it broke over this area, the 395, the higher day 395.30. This is where I grabbed the 39.60 calls at 8.16. They went from 8.60 to 18.10 on that pop right there. Then I grabbed calls again at 11.30, which is right here. It dropped. Came through VWAP and it broke over this 396 level. This is where I grabbed the 39.65 calls at 7.10, and they went from 7.10 to $9. Then I didn't do anything. I grabbed calls again at what, 254, which is right 254. Down here I grabbed it. I grabbed it through VWAP. Yeah, I probably grabbed it right through here. 254, no, 354, right here. So I grabbed it through VWAP right there. You see the big red candle, all these little candles right here. It's getting wicked on both sides, and I grabbed it, pushed through VWAP right over the 39, 395.70 area. So I grabbed the 39.60 calls at 580, and they went from 580 to 850 on that push right there. So that was a good day. I didn't take a loss that day. So then I ended up taking SPY calls overnight for the news, the PPI news, I think it was, and usually they've been popping it on the news, and I decided just to grab some overnight 396 SPY calls just for fun at 181, and I grabbed them at 321, which was down here. And they ended up going to like 224, 225 after hours to like 415. So, I mean, I could have sold it then, but I didn't. I held on to it. You see it gapped up. Would have been a nice winner. But then they had the news. It dropped, and then it finally came back up. But I got it at 181. They went from 181 to 210, so I was able to get out green. So I was happy about that. But Trader's room in the morning, I said SPY calls over 395.50. Every time you have these massive red candles, the drops, it spends most of the day grinding back and making it back, which it did. It's just the thing I didn't like about Friday. Every green candle had a massive red candle, green, red, green, red. It was just one of those days where every big candle was getting shut down harshly, and I did not like that. So, but I did grab calls at 9:44, which was right over the 10-minute candle. The first 10-minute candle printed, grabbed the high right over, which was over PDC, previous day's close. I grabbed the 39.80 calls at 8.50, and they went from 8.50 to 10.50, so a nice little play on that. Then it got shut down. Then I grabbed calls again at 10.30, which was right here. Right when it got over PDC area again, I grabbed the 39.75 calls at 6.30, and they went from 6.30 to $8. So waited for these candles. You see a lot of wicks, but I waited for it to get over PDC, get the wick here, and then get the red, and it came back down here. Then when it got over the PDC and got over this body part of the candle, that's where I grabbed the calls right there. So 6.30 to $8. Then it just got dumped on again. Then I ended up grabbing them again at 2.32, which was right here. Now I grabbed it here thinking, okay, red candle, pop back up, rejected VWAP, harshly rejected here. They quickly got bought back up. Then it was like, okay, it's getting bought underneath the 395 area at the 395, above 395. So, well, look at all these wicks. Look at all that wicks here, the wicks here. Quickly dropped below. Then it got bought up quickly and it came back up to VWAP right away. So I got the 3960 calls and it just chopped, and it popped a little and chopped. And it's like, okay, it's going to finally go. Then it just dumps. To me, you get inverted head and shoulders, the left, the head, and the right shoulder, VWAP. PDC was the neckline area. We had all these convergence going on here, the VWAP, PDC, and 20 EMA. I knew they were all there, but because it was consolidating so long underneath it, I thought for sure it was going to actually pop. And so the 3960 calls I got at 650 didn't work out and got flushed at the end of the day, so didn't work out. But literally almost three out of the 5 losses were end of the day plays. The news loss from Putin was I could have avoided that. I probably should have. So I technically would have only had 1 loss this week if I just used my head a little more. So I'm not going to say that COVID was the excuse for my bad judgment, but no, it definitely was not. I should have used my head a little more, but it is what it is. Next week's going to be better. Get FOMC, should be more volatility, should be some crazy action. So that's going to do it for the recap. I hope this has helped, and hopefully next week will be better. And thanks for watching.